All right, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. So we're going to talk about the monster taming genre, or what some people have been referring to it as the creature collecting or monster battling, or whatever thing you have heard people say recently with the current trend of POW World. And I want to discuss why monster taming is the superior name for the genre and why we should continue to stick with it, despite the fact that some people are sort of coming into monster taming for the first time and trying to change things. Now, I don't want this video to sound gatekeepy. That's not the point. I want you all to come play these monster taming games. I actually do have quite a few legitimate reasons as to why creature collector is actually not a very good tag for the genre, outside of it simply being the Steam tag that Valve came up with. Now, if you don't believe me that it's not something that's been perpetuated by the community, try typing in Monster Tamer under Steam tags. It just instantly changes it to Creature Collector. I'm not entirely sure why that's the case, but Monster Taming still works. And I do want to urge everybody watching this video, please go on Steam and start tagging as many games as you can that are tagged as Creature Collector, as Monster Taming. And I'm going to try to also see if I can't somehow get in contact with Steam to get them to change the tag. We've also had a lot of people putting support tickets in to try to get it changed as well, because the fact that it tries to auto change certain words is a little bit weird, and we're trying to fix that. Hey guys, editor's note here. Get it, Ed? Haha. Anyways, we got an update from Steam. Basically, they want us to get as many people commenting on this thread, from what I understand. They haven't answered me, but they have answered some people in the community that have put tickets in. So I will leave a link to this in the description and in the pinned comment. Please leave a comment on the Steam thread to show your support for the name of the genre changing. I'd really appreciate it. Why do I care so much about this? Well, I care a lot because I and many of you guys have been trying to grow this genre for the last 4 years, and it's been a really difficult process getting people to have a unified name for the genre. Monster taming actually is the terminology that has the most history and has a lot of different moving parts to it, and I'm going to explain some of them here. So obviously you have the fact that my channel and pretty much any other content creator on YouTube that covers only monster taming games, which is me and a few others, we all call it monster taming or monster tamer, whatever. Monster taming is the tag I'm trying to get you guys to use, so let's go with that. You also have the fact that this channel's been doing monster tamer news for the last 4 years, so that's another reason why it's more established. The Monster Taming Direct is also something that I've been hosting on this channel, which is the biggest annual monster taming event that takes place on the internet, which I'm quite proud of. But outside of just me, the Reddit, which is older than my YouTube channel, at least as long as I've been putting out monster taming content, it's called Monster Tamer World. There are various monster taming Discord servers. One of them is for that Reddit. Another one's called Monster Tamer Network. Mine's called Monster Tamer and Chill. We have a Wikipedia for the monster taming page. A lot of developers that are within the community that are within my Discord, because most of the indie devs in the scene are, part of this community and on communicative levels with me. They all call it monster taming. The only arguments I've seen for creature collector is the fact that some YouTubers will sometimes say it, and a lot of them are inconsistent. So you'll see creature collector, monster battler, etc. And that Steam uses it. And, no shade to be thrown at Steam, but half of the creature collecting games on Steam aren't even under that umbrella. They don't really feature collecting of any kind. And some of them are just random hentai games. But that also falls into another aspect of this whole situation, and that creature collecting just isn't accurate. Now, you're always going to have some outliers. Like, I'd consider metabots in the monster taming scene, even though it's like robot taming, and using just the word taming would be too generic. But when it comes to creature collecting, that's almost like a subsect of monster taming, because monster taming games feature games that don't only have you collect monsters. They might involve collection, but some of them are more focused on battling, and some of them are more focused on raising. I wouldn't consider Monster Rancher a creature collector, because you're not really out to collect all the creatures. Yeah, sure, you're trying different fusion combinations and stuff, but ultimately you're more so just raising the strongest one you can make and battling it accordingly. Same with Pokemon Stadium. I wouldn't say that Pokemon Stadium doesn't belong in the genre, because there's no collection element. It's just battles. A lot of the Digimon games don't actually have you catch and utilize monsters in a collection-based format. They just have you with your set team of Digimon, and while that's not creature collecting, you can't tell me Digimon's not monster taming. Monster taming consists of 3 major aspects, which I believe was coined by Twilord on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, but basically monster raising, which are games like Tamagotchi, and other sort of pet and social sim type games generally. You have monster collecting, which is like your Pokemon, Koromon, Nexomon, and that stuff. Then you have monster battling, which usually goes hand in hand with the collection aspect. Most, if not every monster taming game has two, but at least one of these involved, and creature collecting just doesn't have a big enough span to include those games, nor do I think it's very marketable. It's a lot easier to misspell, it has a lot more syllables, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite like monster taming does, and it doesn't really have a history outside of, hey, there's a Steam tag with that name. There are some devs that use that terminology, but they're very few and far in between, and there's never a consistency. I know we have a ton of new fans coming to the monster taming genre because of Pal World, but I want to emphasize not to jump the gun and start changing what we've been trying to achieve with having a sort of unified name for the genre, because when you do that, you make the genre much harder to search and find, and it becomes less marketable, thus becoming more obscure like it's been for the last 20 years until the big boom in 2020. All in all, I know this sounds really mundane and it doesn't sound like it's a really important thing, but I really do believe it is. Monster taming has been overlooked for a really long time, and now that Pal World has made it to the mainstream, there's a much bigger chance that we'll see more and more games, maybe not break every damn Steam record that's out there, but still make their way to the forefront, much like a lot of other good selling games do. And I think that if we can't agree on this terminology, it's going to hurt the genre. Calling it creature collector because you like it isn't really helping, because most content being made about this game is using the terminology monster taming. So if you want this stuff to be searchable, you want these games to be found, let's try to push for monster taming, let's try to get Steam to acknowledge it, and let's just try to unify this. I can't remember where I heard this, but apparently creature collecting was like mistranslated from a different language, so their tag's not even accurate. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. Quick little discussion, and I wanted to get across the fact why I think monster taming is the superior wording to creature collector. And you know, sometimes we use the term mon game for short, which just stands for monster taming game. I just think that's way more marketable than creature collector, but that's just me. If you guys want more monster taming content, I put out monster taming videos every single day. You can check out my Twitter, Discord, Patreon, and channel memberships linked below. And special thanks to our supporters, especially Jim Hamilton, Dro Ghost, Candy Marunci, Tragsoft, and Nemo. And I'll see you next time. Peace.